congresswoman. Her name is Dr. Cynthia Mckinney. And when Donald Trump came out with this, she tweeted out, "Forewarning, this brings down Democrats and Republicans. He needs to go straight all the way because this goes to the top." She is straight down the middle, you guys. She didn't want Hillary in office. She was a Democrat when she was in office. She's calling out Trump on things that she doesn't agree with. I mean, she's literally straight down the middle. I appreciate her. I'm following her on Twitter now. But in 2005, I believe, she, and everybody's kind of come out with this since the sex trafficking and the Pizzagate and everything. And
she grills Donald Rumsfeld
on sex trafficking, and this happened to do with like the Bosnia thing. They actually made a movie about what she's talking about. It's called The Whistleblower.
Mr. Secretary, I watched President Bush deliver a moving speech at the United Nations in September 2003, in which he mentioned the crisis of the sex trade. The president called for the punishment of those involved in this horrible business. But at the very moment of that speech, Dyncorp was exposed for having been involved in the buying and selling of young women and children. While all of this was going on, Dyncorp kept the Pentagon contract to administer the smallpox and anthrax vaccines and is now working on a plague vaccine through the Joint Vaccine Acquisition Program. Mr. Secretary, is it policy of the U.S. government to reward companies that traffic in women and little girls? That's my first question. My second question, Mr. Secretary, according to the Comptroller General of the United States, there are serious financial.
She then goes to grill him about
to which Mr. Cooper alluded.
9/11 and the Defense Department and things like that.
$2.3 trillion missing. Fiscal year 2000, $1.1 trillion missing. And DOD is the #1 reason why the government can't balance its checkbook. The Pentagon has claimed year after year that the reason it can't account for the money is because its computers don't communicate with each other. My second question, Mr. Secretary, is who has the contracts today to make those systems communicate with each other? How long have they had those contracts? And how much have the taxpayers paid for them? Finally, Mr. Secretary, after the last hearing, I thought that my office was promised a written response to my question regarding the 4 war games on September 11th. I have not yet received that response, but would like for you to respond to the questions that I've put to you today, and then I do expect the written response to my previous question, hopefully by the end of the week.
Thank you, Representative.
This is a really weak response.
The answer to your first question is no, absolutely not. The policy of the United States government is clear, unambiguous, and opposed to the activities that you described. The second question.
Well, how do you explain the fact that Dyncorp and its successor companies have received and continue to receive government contracts?
I would have to go and find the facts, but there are laws and rules and regulations with respect to government contracts, and there are times that corporations do things they should not do, in which case they tend to be suspended for some period. There are times then that under the laws and the rules and regulations that passed by the Congress and implemented by the executive branch, that corporations can get off of out of the penalty box, if you will, and be permitted to engage in contracts with the government. They're not generally not barred in perpetuity.
This company was never in the penalty box. If you could proceed to my second.
This company was never in the penalty box. It was never cited, and actually even subsequently been in trouble. Sex trafficking connected to the Dyncorp and other companies around there. It's mind-boggling to me, but I wanted to add her take on it because people keep bringing her back up, and she's like one of the only people that's really pushing this.
Yeah.
And she still is pushing it.
Good for her.
And it goes straight to the top, and it's like they're so good at covering themselves up. And so we're going to go to our next video. and show you in the UK where they have been able to cover things up, and in Canada where they uncovered some things. So, are you ready? Let's go on a journey.
This was an addendum, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you tell them that?
This is an addendum.
I was called